you see people monetizing divorces in a way that we haven't seen before and going exclusive on Snapchat and making an absolute fortune off it. There's this guy, Austin McBroom, and I guess Catherine McBroom, and I'm not super familiar with them. I remember Austin has come up every now and again on my feeds, but not very often, so I wasn't quite sure exactly what was going on. And then randomly, about a week ago or a couple of days ago, I saw like some video of them. They're like, this is who Austin was hooking up with at this event, and his wife and kids were there. And all. I was like, who is this Austin guy? And I was like, oh, it's that guy Austin McBroom. I remember him. I think he boxed maybe Bryce Hall or something. But neither here nor there. What got me interested, I was like, okay, what are you watching it on? And she was like, Snapchat. I was like, okay. And I was like, she was watching as if it was like a Netflix documentary, and it was lengthy. It was not your run-of-the-mill, type of, 10-second, 15-second clip or even a minute clip, TiVo. This was, you're talking, it felt like an hour long. Like she's watching, like the Real Housewives. It's like an hour-long show. And it's just this guy in front of the camera talking about his current very messy divorce. And supposedly, on the back end, Catherine McBroom, or I guess, I don't know if she's still McBroom because they're going through a divorce, but Catherine is doing the same exact thing on her side. So people are just going back and forth, watching each side of the story and watching this super messy, super divorce very publicly and watching it unfold. And I was like, and I remember asking Avery, I was like, is this anywhere else? And they were like, no. And I think it's only on Snapchat. And I was like, these MFers, TiVo, are monetizing the hell out of their divorce. Snapchat is known to pay a ton of money if you can get a ton of views. And I was like, these people must be making a fortune. If more people are like Avery out there, which there are, there's plenty of people that I'm sure that are unbelievably interested. It's seemingly captivating a very large audience. They are monetizing the hell out of this divorce. And it just was like, what are we, this is where we're headed. Or we're actually probably not headed. We're here. It's like comes like the new wave of reality TV. We saw it obviously with the Kardashians, all these different shows that were great reality TV. Now you can turn the phone on, right, and flip the camera on you, and your reality TV is like that. You own the camera. You're CBS now. You're MTV. You're all of these companies that were doing this. I remember we spoke about a while ago, TiVo, about how I wanted to kind of turn my company into a little bit of a reality show. I thought it was good for business. The more people see us, the more people, start building relationships, whether they like me or they hate me. Some people, and I can tell you certainly on Instagram, and so there are some people that like me and there are some people that hate me. And you kind of develop that relationship, and then people want to come to the bars because they want to, oh, that's the guy on Instagram we see all the time, or that's that guy, or what have you, right? And so, I certainly see the value in it. And now you're seeing all these people do it, and now you're getting as far as like throwing a divorce and making it exclusive on Snapchat for you and the person you're divorcing with. It's bonkers. I'm seeing some of this stuff. Supposedly Austin had claimed at some of his peak periods, he was making $100,000 per day on Snapchat. It's insane just by posting videos because he's got this attention. It's crazy. It's crazy. So this is what I wanted to talk about. Is that you talk about the creator economy, you talk about the economy of AI, and this is what I will talk about, this creator economy market growth projections. I don't have the source off the top of my head here, but they say in 2023 that it was a little bit over 100 billion. Then you have 24 was maybe 150, 160 billion. And then 2025, just under 200 billion, right? So that's right now. And then they fast forward all the way to 2030, and they project the creator economy to be over $500 billion. And so you're seeing this huge, huge growth. And again, I know I've said on the show 1,000 times, if you're not, building your own brand and you're not doing this, you're missing out on something. You might not have any interest in it. And so that's fine. Like, you don't have to do it. I'm not saying you have to do it. But if you're sitting there like kind of paralyzed with the thought that my friends are going to hate me or they're going to think I'm stupid and blah, 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 it's foolish. I understand it because I've felt the same way for years. I still feel the same way sometimes. Sometimes I post things, I'm just like, oh, Jesus, Pat, what the hell are you doing? You gave it a shot, but it was tough, right? And me and TiVo have had those conversations. I was like, TiVo, am I really going to post this right now? It's like, all right, we got to try things out. We got to move the needle. We got to push the envelope a little bit. And we had found our lane. It took us, this is year 5 of this podcast. And it took us up until probably January of this year to really truly find our lane, find our stride. We're seeing growth now. I felt confident now putting marketing dollars behind the things. I believe the product is good, and the growth we've seen from it is certainly telling me the same thing, that our product is good and we're going to keep pushing this, which is great news. Great news for everybody, but it took me a while to figure out. But there is so much opportunity out there. There's so much opportunity out there when you can capture people's attention. There is so much opportunity out there, and you have it at your fingertips with your phone now. So, Tivo, I'll flip it over to you. I'm curious, your thoughts on, the creator economy is obviously growing. It's going to continue to grow. Obviously, you're well within the creator economy world. You do some stuff yourself. You do some stuff for other people like myself. Like, you see people monetizing divorces in a way that we haven't seen before, and going exclusive on Snapchat and making an absolute fortune off it. Both sides of the table too, not just one side. You see all this craziness. Like, what do you think of the creator economy? Do you feel the same way that I do? It's just going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to get big, or do you think that perhaps we're plateauing? It's not going to quite go as everyone thinks it might go. What are your just high level thoughts here?
Yeah, it'll always be changing, just like any industry, right, and growing. But I definitely don't. Yeah, it's just gonna keep growing. And this is an AI take as well. As AI and technology grows, it's easier for people to make stuff, right? So 20 years ago, 15 years ago, not only did we not have iPhones for us to be able to do selfies and take videos and build your own empire with a cell phone, but I mean, even just for getting a camera, like a DSLR digital camera, and being able to go out and shoot and make videos and edit on Premiere Pro and the Adobe suite. I mean, that's all within the last 20 years. So the scale of accessibility it's just grown. Right now, anybody can literally pick up a phone and do it. Whereas like when I was first starting, you had to have like phone videos were fun, and like Vine was growing, and like the Vine people kind of graduated to YouTube. But then when they graduated to YouTube, they had to figure out how to use a DSLR, maybe hire a cameraman or do it themselves and learn. And that's kind of like my era where I started, was you had to have a DSLR. And so there was a premium to be able to bring like cool footage to the table and know how to edit it in all these softwares. And now the swing 10 years later is you can shoot on your iPhone, upload it to an app, and then people will edit, or the app will edit this cool, sexy edit for you. And you've seen all the trends that people post. And so I think that's what's pushed people towards this creator, drama, the reality television aspect, because now we're over flooded. Just to tie a bow on this point and jump over the reality television. When I first started, there was a premium for somebody that was like, dude, this guy makes cool videos. Like, hire him for the concert, hire him for the commercial, hire him for the music video. Now you can kind of like, all these apps and AIs, it kind of does it for you. And I just feel like there's so many, it's overexposed now. You see it all the time. So now a cool edit doesn't interest you as much unless you're actually interested in the person, like a Logan Paul or et cetera. So the drama aspect has taken hold over the last 5+ years, just as a natural progression, because same thing, right? It's like, oh, you used to have a whole production crew for the Kardashians and you needed 6 cameras and a producer and audio engineers and lighting to produce this. It's like now you're going through a divorce with your favorite YouTube couple on a cell phone. Yeah. And so the pendulum always swings, right? So, will it be this way forever? I don't know, maybe, but like something's going to swing, and AI will make it easier to I think the future of 10 years from now is your favorite creators and stuff. You're going to be able to make your own shows and movies because the cost of production is going to come down so much for being able to produce cool stuff. And then if I bring it into kind of my world and my experience, kind of like it's exactly what we talked about at the start of the show. Me and my buddy, so my buddy's an actor and he's crushing it, and he's in Super Bowl commercials this year, and he was casted as Travis Kelce in the Hallmark, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce movie this year. So his acting career is like blowing up, which is great. But on the side now, because he has that kind of acting exposure and resume, and then I have like a production resume, we're teaming up to go to these medium-sized businesses and pitching like Hollywood commercials for a quarter, literally like 10%, a quarter of the price. but we're going to produce it with us two. And like, we'll probably bring a director of photography, maybe like an assistant. Like we have a couple people helping us for sure. But the type of commercials that we produced and are going to produce would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we're doing it at a fraction of the price, but we're keeping 85-90% of the profits. And so I think that's hopefully what I'm betting on is like the next step of the future. And we're already there, but I think that's the sweet spot for kind of my vision of the creator economy, where I think I can excel at and make good money at. But it's always going to change, just like any industry, so you got to stay on top of it. But the power's with the creators. I think you've kind of seen Hollywood take a nosedive, really. It's so hard to put out a good movie because it costs so much to do it the traditional way. And then, it just either does well or it doesn't. And there's no making money on the back end of the DVDs. So it's like it's a high-risk business now. And you see that's why they're producing stuff in Canada and Vancouver and overseas, because the cost to work with the unions and the SAG and all that, it's so expensive. So you better believe it's a sure thing. If you're putting millions and millions and millions into a movie, you better have, Tom Cruise or Leo to know that it's going to get you your money back over the finish line. And that's why you don't have those classics anymore. Maybe we're aging ourselves depending on who's listening to this, but I'm thinking like Euro Trip or like the American Pies or Old School or Wedding Crashers. Like none of those did well in theaters. Old School and Wedding Crashers didn't crush in theaters, but they sold millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars in DVDs because it caught fire. It was like, oh, dude, you see this? This is hilarious. Obviously the lore of those movies has stood the test of time, but these filmmakers can't take, or the producers, the money can't take the risk of putting movies together as much anymore. So the creator economy is definitely here to stay.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, even look at The Office. I mean, not a movie, but obviously a series that did okay. It did well, but then whatever after it went off air is when it really went bananas. Once it was streaming everywhere, it found such a larger audience that it did so much better afterwards, and it grew in such popularity. But it was off the air for a few years at that point, and so you're seeing a shift, right? You're seeing things change right now, and that's why I'm spending more on marketing dollars for my businesses, but for this as well than I have ever done before. But I believe it to be worth it. I think it's worth. I think having a YouTube channel, it has 100,000 subscribers. Is going to be a very valuable thing to have. I think you're going to see more people get there, right? But I also think it's going to be a valuable thing to have. I think it's something that you can monetize over your life and just have some money coming in all the time. And again, it doesn't cost nothing to start up, and I think that's where people think it's wrong. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort in the beginning, and then you'll see like a guy like myself where we feel as though we're putting out good content, but it takes some marketing dollars to get in front of the right content, right? YouTube and all these other things, they're going to throw it out there. They're going to hope to find the right person because they want you to do well too, because if you throw out good content, it makes their platform better. But they struggle sometimes. They're not going to find it, and oftentimes they struggle enough where some good creators will give up. But if you put out the right stuff, and then you're like, okay, this would be my demographic, and me and you have nailed down our demographic. We know what our demo is. So you've done enough research to put out enough pieces of content to know who it hits with, who it doesn't. Instead of me waiting for YouTube to find it, I just tell YouTube, hey, this is likely the place you need to send this. And then I send it. And then some of my best, on TikTok, it's much easier. But on TikTok, as far as like cost per follower that I'm finding is like 38 cents. On TikTok, on YouTube, my best one's probably like 50 cents, 49 cents. The average is more like 70 or 65. But like you're performing well, and over the course of, and YouTube's a bit better. It's more high intent subscribers and followers. So I like going there, even though TikTok's cheaper. I prefer to get the YouTube subscriber right now. But like, you're growing in a way, and you're finding people that like it, and you're helping YouTube find it. And then, based off what I'm researching and hearing, is the more you do this and feed the algorithm at YouTube and TikTok information on who is your direct audience, your target audience, your organic reach will compound and get bigger and bigger, which would bring your cost of acquisition even lower. And so again, it's an interesting world we all live in, but this creator economy is just going to, I'm with you. It's just going to keep growing. It's going to keep pivoting. It's going to, like the pendulum swings, right? Like, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are able to do things for less money, especially with, AI. I'm sure it takes me an hour and a half to build this episode, this hour-long episode every week. I bet you, in 2015, before AI and all this other stuff came about and all these different social media channels and news outlets and all this stuff, it probably took hours, maybe days to build a real good thing. You talk about the Warren Buffett back in the day. He said that it was easier to make better investments and make bigger money back in the day because to try to get the information was such a pain in the ass that no one wanted to do it. So you would find things that were great buys that nobody knew about because it was such a pain in the ass to get the information. Now you throw on that CNBC, Fox Business, wherever you get your news, and you're just flooded with information about every company ever. And so, we talked about earlier in the show how I think that also can be good because I think it's too much information for some folks and the way their personality kind of is. I don't think they can handle that much information and they end up getting scared and selling off, or they end up getting too aggressive. Oh, great news. We're going to buy, drives the price up. And now you pull out, let's say, because this is a bit too heavy for me, and then there's a little bit of bad news. It drives the price way back down. You go buy in again. You make another 30%. I think there's good and bad with how it is now too, but just as with any industry, but specifically you talk about creator economy, you talk about the AI. TiVo is a great example. What he's now doing with his buddy and a few others to go deliver really high quality, great commercials at a fraction of the cost, that did not exist 10 years ago. But you needed to go to a big company and spend $250,000, $500,000 on a great ad. And now TiVo can do it for X, at a fraction of the cost. But 10 years ago, again, that didn't exist. And that's my point, tying a bow to the previous point too, is that we don't know what AI in jobs world will create, what people will need. I personally believe if ChatGPT continues to go this way, that you may need somebody in your company, maybe a whole team that is just dedicated to using AI efficiently, knowing exactly how to use it, when to use it, what to prompt it, all of that stuff. And I think that could be a job title we see in a couple of years, maybe even as soon as the end of this year or early next year. You could see people being like, I really need to know how to use this. I don't have time to learn it. Hey, I'll pay you X a year and you just deliver good ChatGPT results. It could be a thing. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, Evo, terrific conversations as always. It is funny how these quick hitters end up turning into, 45 minutes of the show. But again, to me, that just shows that we're selecting great quick hitters, great work. TiVo, I wish you the best of luck this weekend in your endeavor in creating these commercials, and I hope you have a tremendous weekend. Any other weekend plans outside of that?
Nope. Busy weekend, work weekend.
Listen, I feel like every weekend's a work weekend nowadays for us. But anywho, guys, I hope for you folks that are listening, this is the week, after this. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you have a great week ahead. And, guys, don't get too high or too low. Stay right in the middle. And I think you'll do just fine, especially in the investing world. So not financial advice, though. With that being said, though, guys, I hope you have a great week. And until next time, we'll see you.